Hi guys, Ricky Pope here, and today on the Christian Nerds Unite podcast, I interview Matt Matthias and Michael Schaefer of the MemeLord Monday podcast and Memes for Jesus on social media. Plus, scripture and nerdy news as always. We'll get to all of that right after this. 2022 is flying by so fast, and I just reviewed my goals for the year. It's not too late to set some effective goals for 2022 for yourself. And the Goal Process 101 ebook helps you do just that. With a straightforward process and practical exercises, you'll be guided to set the right goals for you and set out a plan to achieve them. Get your copy of the Goal Process 101 ebook by going to goalprocess101.com. Use CNU2022 at checkout to save 10%. Now, back to the show. I hope you enjoyed last week's more seriously toned episode, but this week we turned the nerd all the way up to 11 as we talk to Matt Matthias and Michael Schaefer from MemeLord Monday's podcast and the Memes for Jesus social media pages. But before we get into that, let's do some scripture. We're going to read Luke 4:14 through 21. Jesus returned to Galilee in the power of the Spirit, and news about him spread through the entire countryside. He was teaching in their synagogues, and everyone praised him. And he went to Nazareth, where he had been brought up. And on the Sabbath day, he went into the synagogue, as was his custom. He stood up to read. And the scroll of the prophet Isaiah was handed to him. Unrolling it, he found the place where it is written, "The Spirit of the Lord is on me, because he has anointed me to proclaim good news to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim freedom for the prisoners and recovery of sight for the blind, to set the oppressed free, to proclaim the year of the Lord's favor." Then he rolled up the scroll, gave it back to the attendant, and sat down. The eyes of everyone in the synagogue were fastened to him. He began by saying to them, "Today this scripture is fulfilled in your hearing." In this scripture, Jesus returns to his hometown and proclaims that he is the fulfillment of the good news. Now it's our turn to share that good news of Jesus Christ. How and when you share it is something you need to seek God's face about. Some of you will share it publicly in large groups. Others will share it quietly with individuals one-on-one. And some, like my guests today, will share it using memes. I hope you will take a few moments today to ask God who you need to be sharing the gospel with and how you can share it with them most effectively. Now let's do some nerdy news. Most of you probably know the San Diego Comic-Con was this past weekend, and all our nerdy news this week will be announcements we heard there. Even though DC Comics did not have a booth at Comic-Con this year, they did have some announcements, including an upcoming Spawn Batman crossover. We've not seen this DC Image Comics crossover since the 90s. The Joker is not going to appear in the upcoming Gotham Knights game. Jim Lee, DC Comic Chief Creative Officer, says they have no plans to continue films in the Snyderverse. And the two biggest releases were probably the new Black Adam trailer and the first Shazam! Fury of the Gods trailer. Both films are looking great so far and should be a good addition to the DCEU. Dungeons & Dragons: Honor Among Thieves released tons of info and a new trailer. The project is looking very good, and most are expecting great things, many saying, is it possible we will finally have a good live-action Dungeons & Dragons movie? Well, with Chris Pine, Michelle Rodriguez, Hugh Grant, Gelatinous cubes, mimics, dragons, mazes, bards, barbarians, magic users, thieves, lots of action, and lots of humor. It feels a lot like a real tabletop role-playing game session. I'm looking forward to it. And finally, Marvel. Charlie Cox's Daredevil will appear on the animated Spider-Man freshman year. The animated X-Men 97 is confirmed for the fall of 2023, picking right up where the original 90s cartoon ended. But the biggest news was about the MCU Phase 4, 5, and 6, calling it the Multiverse Saga. Phase 4 will end with She-Hulk on Disney Plus and Black Panther Wakanda Forever in theaters, meaning other shows are being moved to Phase 5, starting with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, and wrapping up with 3 newly confirmed titles: Daredevil: Born Again, Captain America: New World Order, and finally Thunderbolts. With Phase 6 kicking off late in 2024 with the Fantastic Four and ending with 2 Avengers films, Kang Dynasty and Secret Wars. Marvel has a lot going on. Well, that's all the nerdy news I have for you today. Now, let's get into my interview with Matt Matias and Michael Schaefer. Matt, Michael, it is so great to have you on the Christian Nerds Unite podcast today.
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having us.
Oh, man. So I have been following you guys for quite some time, before we ever connected.
Wow.
Because I have been following Memes for Jesus for some time. And then recently I found your podcast, MemeLord Monday podcast. Mm-hmm. And I've really enjoyed it. I love the fact that, you know, it's MemeLord podcast. It's MemeLord Mondays. And if anybody ever saw the podcast name, they might not get the idea that this is a Christian podcast until they read about it or started listening to it. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, it does have at the very bottom, like a little subtext in the logo that says from the creators of Memes for Jesus. So you can kind of like, if people who are more perceptive would see, there's this is, and then, but yeah, I kind of enjoy the mystery and the mystique of bringing people in with the meme-ness of it.
Yes.
And, you know, and the very subtle Lord part of it. You know
yes.
I mean? It's
yes.
in there.
It's in there. Absolutely. I really do like the name. But Memes for Jesus started first. So
yes.
tell me, how did that all start?
Shall I take this, Matt?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. Yeah. So, it's more of my story anyway. So when I was a senior in high school back in 2012, I
feel so old right now.
I know. Even thinking that that's 10 years ago bugs me. But basically when I was a senior, I spent way too much time on the internet, not doing my schoolwork and looking at memes instead. I was cyber schooled, so that made it only 50 times easier to waste that time.
Yes.
So I started looking around on like Facebook and stuff and just checking out to see if there were any like Christian meme accounts or anything. And there were like a couple that had maybe like 100 followers or something, but they weren't really doing anything. They were completely inactive. And so I just thought to myself, hey, you know, I could do that. So I started a page and just started clicking invite on all of my friends list, and you know, a couple of them liked it, and I just kept going with it, kept sharing posts, and people would send in their posts and I would share theirs, and it just kind of snowballed and grew into what it is now known as Memes for Jesus today.
And you guys have what, like over 500,000 followers on Facebook?
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, are you also on Instagram?
We are, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have 564,000 on Facebook and 353,000 on Instagram.
Nice. Are you have you delved into TikTok yet?
Yes, actually we just got 10,000 followers on TikTok.
Nice. I will have to go hunt you up on TikTok. I'm just getting started on TikTok. So I'm like in the I don't have 200 yet. So I gotta build my following a little bit there.
The way that social media is right now, a lot of the stuff we're doing is more on Instagram and TikTok.
Mhm.
And so that's kind of our primary focus. Facebook doesn't really like push our stuff anymore. We still post there, but for those of you who are following the Facebook page and you want to see, more stuff, that's where a lot of our like videos and like more of our conversations are happening.
Yeah.
So yeah, I guess that's for the lifelong followers that don't know what's going on. Just
Also,
like a little.
our Facebook group too. We have a Facebook
Oh,
group
yeah.
called Memes for Jesus Posting.
Yes.
So that's kind of its own little community, and that's a lot of fun that we get to have in there.
Very cool. And I am a bit of a social media aficionado. I follow everything and I read everything. And talking about Facebook, not pushing things out. Recently, there was a leaked memo from Facebook that basically said that over the course of the next 6 months to a year, they're going to become much more TikTok-like.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So expect big changes at Facebook over the next 6 months, or it to fall apart.
I'm thinking it's gonna fall apart.
It's gonna fall apart, man. That's their entire demographic is not TikTok at all.
I know it's going to be it will be an interesting ride. Needless to say. Well, tell me about the podcast. How did the podcast start?
So basically, literally, I was making memes for Mike, and like, first of all, the way that I became an admin, Mike and I were hanging out one day, and he was just like, "Hey, check your phone," and I was like, "You've been made an admin for memes." I was like, "What? What are you talking about?" Because I had been sending him memes, and then he was posting them, and like we were hanging out a lot because we have same friend groups and stuff, and he just made me the admin. I was like, we're one of the admins, and I was like, wow. And so since then, I started making even more memes. I went crazy. Probably made like 20 memes that first 3 days.
Yeah, he sent me all of his tame ones before I made him an admin, and
then I was like,
and then yeah,
then I went
The
crazy.
meme monster.
Yeah, the edgelord came out, and but yeah, basically, I was like, I could make memes all day. This is fun, but I want to do more, and I'm just like naturally ambitious like that, and so like that's when podcasts were blowing up, and well, I mean, podcasts were more the thing to do for the middle-aged man and his buddy. So I was like, let's just do a podcast. We already have the community, why not? Let's just do it and goof off, and then we can interview, then make it like a Joe Rogan. We're gonna make it like Joe Rogan, bro. And that's what I tried to do at first, and
those were
the
his
memes.
exact words.
Yeah, and I was like, we'll call it, and we called it the Memes for Jesus podcast no one asked for, and it was just nonsense, like goofball stuff that he and I would do. People loved it, but like it didn't really have much of a purpose other than us goofing off. And we got to interview some amazing people like KJ52.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, like KB the rapper interviewed Michael Jr. the comedian. A bunch of other huge names I can't think of right now, but like TikTok Vine stars, Chaz Smith, other people like that, and it was really fun. And but then, like I said, I didn't see like there was much of a purpose to it other than goofing off, and I wanted to make something that would really like retain people and something that had like some meat to it. So we got some training, we did some more research in podcasting, and have turned it into MemeLord Monday. Well, I mean, we were still thinking about what we wanted to do with it. So what actually happened, sorry, I'm all over the place with this, but we had the Memes for Jesus posting group, and we were just building that community and going live. Like I was going live every Monday. And so we would hang out, we'd goof off, like we'd play Quiplash, just funny stuff. We debate about corn dogs, and it was a really fun time, but I would do it every Monday. And then I started calling it MemeLord Monday. And then I was like, why don't I invite people for these Monday night things? And I started inviting my friends like PD from Church Stories. I don't know if you're familiar with those guys, PD and Shama. And he came on, and then I started inviting more people. I was like, you know what? Let's bring the podcast back. This is the new podcast. And so restructured everything. and then now that podcast is kind of like a placeholder for a lot of the conversations that we have with people on Instagram, because I'll have Instagram conversations, I'll have conversations in the meme group. Like I'll make a meme that I'll see has a ton of engagement, then I'll turn that into a discussion, and then we'll bring on people who are knowledgeable about the subject. And it's been something really fun that I've done and turned that into a place where people can hear those conversations.
And you on the podcast, you guys talk about some pretty heavy subjects, and
For sure.
And then on the meme side, I know sometimes, like you said, the edge lord comes out. How do you kind of balance that? We being effective and being and honoring, the spirit that you're trying to meet. How do you kind of balance that idea of I want to be super edgy, I want to deal with these things, but I want to deal with them in such a way that my audience, whether it's memes or whether it's the podcast, my audience gets a hold of this, can actually use it.
So when Mike first started the meme page, he was pretty much, addressing Christianity as a whole, and I latched onto that, and it was actually my heart's desire for the group as well. So we, that's kind of how we've structured the way that we angle our memes. It's like we'll do a Catholic style meme, that Catholics can laugh at. We'll do a meme. Sometimes we'll do memes, not very often, but we'll do a meme that's like a little more edgy that the progressives will be like, oh, that's a good one, or but naturally we're pretty conservative and we're traditional Christians. But like we want to address Christianity as a whole, the church as a whole. And so all that to say, we structure our community group as like that as well. And so I wanted to take that same spirit of ecumenicism into the podcast, where I could take voices that would say something that would sound like insanity to a conservative, and the same thing for something that would sound insane to a more progressive or liberal Christian. I wanted to have those voices be able to talk to one another, and us kind of maintain that goofy neutral ground. Like I'm just the dumb meme lord, where I can say, well, that sounds cool, or or that, what do you think about this, and kind of maintain that neutral ground where it's there's the edge is there, but it's not so much like you see it on a lot of podcasts where it's pointed in one direction. It's oriented towards a certain audience. I want people who are Christians and people who aren't Christians to be able to listen to the podcast and say, well, that's a good Christian perspective, or that's how Christians should interact. And that's really, kind of been my heart behind the podcast.
Any thoughts, Michael?
Yeah, I mean, as Matt said earlier, I haven't been around a ton since converting it into MemeLord Monday, but I do keep up with the shows, and I love the things that Matt has been able to do and just the conversations that he's been able to have. A lot of the guests, will come from just different areas of Christianity, but they're there to have a conversation and to discuss their viewpoints. And I love that we're able to provide a place where other Christians can come and listen to those viewpoints and kind of gain a better understanding that, maybe just because this person doesn't have the same theology as me doesn't necessarily mean they're a heretic per se. Like, I mean, when I first heard about Calvinists, I thought, oh, these people are these are the worst people in the world. And then, I started understanding Calvinism more. And while I don't agree with all the points of Calvinism myself, I'm like, okay, there's a biblical foundation for this. Like, I can understand why this belief is here and that it's not like completely blaspheming God by having this viewpoint. And I've loved that we've been able to, kind of provide that space for people.
Yeah, and like with memes, we use our common voices to roast each other.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that's what we do. That's what satire is that, like, so Mike's Pentecostal and I'm Reformed. I'm a Presbyterian, basically. And so I am a Calvinist, and we'll make memes roasting Calvinists, and we'll make memes roasting Pentecostals, and them speaking in tongues and swinging from the chandeliers. But we'll roast everyone, just in the same way that we'll allow the freedom for people to speak and share their opinion. You're gonna get roasted. You know what I mean? Everybody gets a slam.
I absolutely love that idea, and I get called a heretic on a daily basis because of it. Because I do the same thing at Christian Nerds Unite. No holds barred. If you are a believer, you are going to get tagged at some point. Yes. But I get called a heretic on a regular basis because of any number of memes.
Nice.
So I take it as a badge of honor at this point. In fact, I even started a theology, a theology for Christian nerds group, so that I could get all the theology discussions off of the Christian Nerds page.
Nice.
So we could talk about fandoms from
That's
a
funny.
Christian perspective, which is what the point of the page was, not to have the great debate of Arminianism versus Calvinism. So I started a whole group just for that. And it gave me a good excuse to go, hey, this is a great question. You should take it over to the other group.
I love it.
That's great.
It has taken on a life of its own, actually. I've turned it over to some other admins. They do a great job
That's
over there.
awesome.
They have a lot of fun arguing with each other. But what do you think? What is the hardest part of running a social media page like this? A Christian page that is satirical, but at the same time, not making fun of Christianity in a bad way, but asking us to look at ourselves. Because that's the way I see this. When I post something that's satirical, I want us to look at ourselves and go,
Yeah.
oh, number one, don't take yourself so seriously. And number two, let's just think about this idea. How do you guys address that kind of thing?
What do you think, Mike? Ricky, the thing is, I'm obviously like the more extroverted one.
I'm the theology guy.
Matt will usually just jump right in, and that's what I'm used to. But sometimes he'll just throw a curveball and he'll be like, "What do you think, Mike?" And I'm like, "Yeah, so
I have a
lot
ministry
of Legos."
I have a ministry partner that's like that as well. He is the extrovert. I am absolutely the introvert. I have to turn it on for the show. So, but I have the ability to turn it on. And he will throw things at me. I'm like, thanks. Sure. Let me address the hardest question we're going to have today. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
That is it exactly.
So, all right.
I feel your pain. I feel your pain, Michael. I feel you. I feel you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I guess
I may leave all this in. This is good.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Less work for you. But yeah, like doing the satire. So like sometimes, so I spoke with these guys called the Skit Guys, who are legendary.
Oh yeah, absolutely great, great guys. I know Brian, their director.
Oh yeah, that's so cool.
He does all their video production.
The Skit Guys are just really like they're the real deal, and they've been doing it forever. I think he said like 30 plus years. And they're they walk so we could run, basically. And when I asked them, so the topic of the podcast that I spoke with them about was about what place does comedy have within Christianity, and how can, because it seems like, because what we deal with in our DMs, we'll make a meme that might be somewhat innocuous and it might not have like really much going on there, and we'll get people DMing us, how dare you blaspheme God, how dare you do this XYZ, and we'll have to be like,
the big one for me is that's a second commandment violation.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I mean, I'm Reformed and I get it. But like Mike didn't understand that when I first came on. I was like, you realize that the logo itself is a second commandment violation for these guys, and so we had to like fend them off.
I'd never heard of it before. I'd never heard of that before. Like,
Yeah.
I would get comments that just said 2CV. I'm like,
2CV.
Okay, why are these people commenting?
This is a
that?
2CV.
Whatever, I don't care.
It's dumb.
such a big deal that they've narrowed it down to 3 letters.
Yeah.
2 letters
I
and
honestly,
a number.
I honestly don't know how people like that exist. You know what I mean? Like, how do you exist in a world with pictures?
How do you have the internet?
How are you even on the internet?
Let's be honest. There are people at the opposite end of these spectrums that have just as many other issues.
Yes, it's true. But yeah, anyway, so like the way that we'll handle it is that I'll tell people like, listen, we are not mocking God. The meme itself is not mocking God. If it was mocking God, then yes, you would have an argument. But we are attacking, or I shouldn't say attacking. We are addressing certain issues within Christianity and behaviors that we want to see, made better. And that's what satire is. It's like it's a critique of something that you want to because you love it so much. Like, how many food critics do you know hate food? You know what I'm saying? Like, if I'm gonna critique like the mega church having a crazy laser display that's cost them $3 million, it's because I want the church to be the church. I want the church to be historical. I want the church to be representative of what Christianity and the church should be. And so if I'm critiquing it, it's because of that. That's the heart that I'm approaching it. I'm not like South Park where it's like, stupid Christians with their, I'm a Christian.
Yes.
I love God and I love the church, and I want to see it, that the place of worship to be respected and to be done well. So that's the heart. You got something, Mike?
I did have something. I remember. Yo, so no,
he is just a joy to edit for. I'm just gonna tell you right now.
Listen,
he could have done that all in his head. You know that.
No. Listen. All right. So Matt's been making these memes lately. That's like person rushing to the altar because someone said the word poo poo or whatever. Yeah. So I'm thinking, I'm just throwing a new meme out, and here it is. All right. 2CV fanatics running to the altar after seeing a nativity set.
Oh man. You just see them zooming through traffic. Help me, Lord.
Sorry, that was the big thing on my brain.
That's good.
Yeah.
I like that, Mike.
That was good.
Thank you.
That was good. Oh my goodness. So what do you guys, what is your favorite part of what you guys are doing right now?
It's just been fun, I mean, I don't think I would have been doing this for 10 years in any capacity if it wasn't fun. Even with how things are for me now, I'm a little more focused on like my personal account and content on there, but I still, contribute to Memes for Jesus in other ways. But it's just fun to do. I love doing it. I love the community and the followers that we have. I mean, we've gotten to meet a bunch of followers in the past, and I'll go places with my wife that it'll just be like a Christian conference or something, and people will come up and be like, "Hey, it's Memes for Jesus," and my wife will just be over there, and she's like, who did I marry? What is going on? The first time that it happened, she was just so confused. But she's kind of gotten a little more used to it now. But it's just been so much fun, just the community and the friendships that I've gotten to make through it. I mean, I'm friends with Matt because of Memes for Jesus. So it's been mostly great. Obviously I'm friends with Matt, so there's some downsides, but it's been mostly great.
I was waiting for it. Yeah, dude, we're like brothers, so we roast each other like day and night. So
as you should. You should.
I like a challenge. I like stuff that challenges me, and like making memes that are successful is a challenge. It's a
Mm-hmm.
huge challenge. And nowadays the algorithm is just like it's an untamable beast. And it's been like this for the past like 8+ months. And so if you're able to catch it, it's like a huge win
Mm-hmm.
because there's a massive payoff. Especially with Instagram right now, like TikTok is like it's volatile and you can blow up on there randomly. But Instagram, when you blow up, you really blow up. Like we just had a meme. Go here. I want to look this up because these numbers are just out of control.
Yes.
Like right recently, we did our biggest meme. It has 3.6 million likes,
Wow.
and it has how many views? The views just blow me out of the 423 million views, which is like out of this world. It's like 2% of the world's population has seen our meme.
That's crazy.
And so like that's been my favorite thing, is just trying to learn and catch the algorithm while you can. And also I enjoy making people upset.
Yeah. That's
So any chance I
Nice.
can to do it in a way that's Christian and get away with it, you know, I'm like, how can I figure out how to address this issue, rustle someone's jimmies, and still not sin? You know, let's do it.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah.
I think that's my favorite quote right there. Any big plans for the podcast or for the group or for the Facebook page or Instagram page or TikTok?
Yeah, we have a lot of stuff that we want to do that we can't necessarily talk about because it has to do with like other companies that we would like to work with and stuff. Like huge things that we're really like just cannot wait if it does happen. But with the podcast, I'm always looking to refine it. I'm always looking to hone it down and niche down. It's really been fun doing the podcast and learning that, because it's also like another medium that is very, very difficult to learn and harness and be successful at. We have, and what's harder is doing it with memes, because memes are so transactional. It's not like we're influencers where, you know, our faces are on a lot of the memes, like especially Mike, but and I'll do one every once in a while, but it's really hard to monetize memes because it's repurposed content.
Yeah.
Right.
So what I would love,
I'm going to be honest. I take your stuff and I repost it. Let's be honest. It's going to be straight up.
Hey,
some of the posts on Christian Nerds Unite are yours.
It's all good, man. As long as you tag us, I don't care what you do with it, because it's not ours anyway. we're just putting words on pictures, man. But the thing is, like, you know, with memes, converting, if I can successfully convert the power of memes into podcasting, that's my end goal. Because I haven't seen it anywhere else. And one of the things I've learned through podcasts, or the podcast coaching that I've been taking, they said if you can turn your podcast into the only version of itself in the world, that's when you know you've done it right. And so that's what my goal is turning memes and what memes represent into a podcast and making that something that people can talk about, can laugh about, and you know, all the rest.
Matt, Michael, it has been great having you on the show. Tell people where they can find you guys.
Well, if you don't mind, Mike, I'll take this. But we are on Facebook, Memes for Jesus, TikTok, Memes for Jesus Official, and Memes for Jesus on YouTube and Instagram. And those are basically the big places. Our podcast is called MemeLord Monday, and that's available on all podcast platforms. And we interview Christian creators and help you find the meme in everyday life over there. And we've just been having a lot of fun roasting Christianity while loving it at the same time. And just making memes for people.
Awesome. Well, guys, it has been a joy having you on the show. Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for
This was
inviting
so
us.
fun.
It was great getting to know Matt and Michael. We had so much fun. In fact, we decided to do an impromptu review of Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi show, but we'll save that for next week. Just to keep you updated, as of this recording, we are still waiting for my wife's heart transplant, but are expecting the call in the next few weeks. If you'd like to support financially, I will include a link to the GoFundMe down below. Everything will go toward the transplant expenses. Well, that's all I have for you today. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, just click all those buttons. That way you'll be informed anytime we put out new content. And you can find all of our social links to our YouTube channel and our online store at ChristianNerdsUnite.com. If you enjoy the show and want to help even more, consider becoming a supporter on Patreon. We've changed all of our Patreon levels, and every level has great benefits and makes a huge difference in the ministry we're able to do. Supporters will also hear exclusive stories of believers we're serving around the world through our ministry partners. To check it out or to partner with us, go to patreon.com/ChristianNerdsUnite or go to ChristianNerdsUnite.com and click on support from the menu. Before you go, I do want to leave you with this blessing from 1 Thessalonians 5. May God himself, the God of peace, sanctify you through and through. May your whole spirit, soul, and body be kept blameless at the coming of our Lord Jesus Christ. The one who calls you is faithful, and he will do it. We'll see you next week. Blessings.